All right, good afternoon, everybody. Dave Marzinki here with Agent Marketing Academy. Sorry for the late spot. We had a little technical difficulties, but wanted to make sure that we got up and running. So thank you. And today we're going to be talking about Facebook advertising, the new rules of Facebook advertising for real estate, things you have to keep in mind, and why it's beneficial to be running ads on Facebook and Instagram, because they're both one and the same as far as ownership, and you can use the ad manager's platform to ad in both areas. So we're going to get into that and just do a high level overview of all this. So if you haven't been with us before, Agent Marketing Academy is a class that we do every 2 weeks, and then we bring different topics to you with tools that you can use to help your business for online marketing, whether it's Facebook ads, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, different strategies that you can put into your business. So we want to make this very interactive, and we want to help you guys, if you have questions or anything like that, make sure you use the chat window, answer those questions. We'll be monitoring that as we go along. So that way, see we're monitoring it, as you can tell right there. Let me get it off that. But we'll keep an eye on it, and then we'll make sure that we answer those as we go along. So just to start off, how many of you, and put it in the chat window, just a quick answer, how many of you are advertising on Facebook right now, have a consistent ad campaign or process going with Facebook marketing? All right, Jessica says, I've done quite a few Facebook ads, no consistent plan. Okay. Thanks, Jessica, for sharing. Appreciate that. Yeah, consistency is the biggest thing where you're going to take results, and that's how you're going to generate results. And this is a long-term strategy. This is not something where you can run an ad once for 10 days or 5 days and say, oh, I'm going to generate business. Facebook is where you have to do a long-term strategy, and keep that in mind when you're doing these ads. All right, let's jump into this. We'll go from there. All right. So here's our agenda. We're going to go over why we want to be running Facebook ads, understanding the objectives that Facebook has, the new rules of targeting that Facebook has implemented, creating your ad, choosing your audience. So we're going to go through a little demonstration on how to do that, lead response and conversion, and then Facebook ad examples, some examples that you have there. So keep those in mind. So why do we want to use Facebook and run ads? Well, as you know, Facebook is the largest social media platform. There's 2.45 billion monthly active users on Facebook, right? So we want to run ads because we want to create awareness. It's definitely probably the best platform to create awareness, build your brand recognition. You want to increase your database, right? Facebook is a great way to run ads so that you can increase your database so that you can gain a larger sphere of influence. And those are lead ads that will show you how to put together so that you can do that. 3, you can do lead generation. So with the installation of Facebook Pixel on your website or your landing page, which we will talk about, you can do retargeting and generate leads to that. And then 4 is repeat and referral business. You want to get into custom target audiences, how to generate those, and how do you want to get in front of your past clients so that you can get referrals from them. All right, so in order to run Facebook ads, what you will need is you do have to have a Facebook business page. So if you don't have a Facebook business page, we have a class for that, so we can keep an eye out for that schedule. And then also, or we can get together offline, one-on-one, and I can help you with that as far as putting a Facebook business page together. And so that's the first thing you need. 2, you're going to need a little budget, some money to spend for testing. You're going to need a lead follow-up process. You're going to want to make sure that you have something in place that when these leads respond via messenger or lead form or however they respond to you, that you have a follow-up process in place. And 4, patience. Like we talked about, this is a long-term strategy. This isn't I'm going to run an ad and get a ton of business here in 30 days. It's definitely a long-term play where you need to be consistent at it, have a strategy, and have a process in place to nurture these leads that are engaging with you. Make sense? Awesome. So Facebook ads are often called passive or interest-based ads. This means that Facebook ads need to pique a passive user's interest. You can't get away with focusing solely on sales. It simply won't get the people's attention. So you need to have content that brings value to them that piques their interest. And then in order to do that, in order to make sure that you're running effective ads and that are targeted the right way, we want to understand that Facebook has different objectives, right? They have different campaigns that you can use that reach different objectives. So what do those consist of? Those ad objectives consist of awareness, consideration, and conversion. Basically, think of these as 3 different funnels that you're going to be working with, right? So the awareness objective, these are leads that are in the awareness stage. They're simply thinking about or toying with the idea of buying or selling a property. So introducing yourself as a community expert with videos or images is a great goal to have for these types of ads. You're not selling here. You're not trying to convert them into listing appointments at this time. You're not trying to convert them into buyer consultations. You're simply building awareness to that. You're building that brand recognition so that people can think of you as the area expert. The consideration objective, this is where people are in the consideration stage. They have a plan to buy or sell a home. They're considering options. And these ads should highlight listings, community life. They should tell your story. You could do it through video, and you can shoot a video talking about common things to go look out for during the process of buying or selling your home. Something where you showcase your client results or anything else during that. So these are all different things that you want to keep in mind for these types of ads. And then lastly is our conversion. This is where we're actually going to convert people from thinking about things or considering things to taking action, right? And this is where we're going to have a strong call to action. So conversion entices people that are buying or selling a property to take action on the real estate ads by clicking a link, filling out a form, making a phone call, booking an appointment. Okay. All right, so let's get into creating an ad and the step-by-step process on that. And some people like to, delegate this out. And if you have somebody that you trust that's helping you with social media and that can get on here and create these ads for you, that's great. Hand that off and tell them what you want and they'll do it for you. But it helps to know kind of the nuts and bolts or have a high level overview of how this works so that you have a good understanding that you're getting value out of running these ads and the money that you're spending. You need to have ROI. All right, so there's Facebook Ads Manager versus Business Manager. Okay. Ads Manager is basically the app that you're going to put on your phone. And then what this does is it allows you to kind of see some of the analytics, get some information. It's great when you're just getting started out with ads and all that. But you want to make sure that most of your work done on these ads and putting these ads together is done on your desktop, because that's where Facebook lives as far as the Business Manager. The Facebook Ads Manager is just something that you can have on your phone that helps you take a look at some of the analytics of the campaigns that you're running. All right, so we're going to access our Ads Manager from our business page. Right? And there's several ways to get in on that. First one is that we want to click on the Create Ad. So you click on this Create tab, whether it's on the left-hand side of your business page or on the top, and you're going to click on Add, right? And then there's another drop-down option that says Manage Ads. This is to manage the ads that you already have. And then there's a Promote button, either on the left side of the sidebar or somewhere on your Facebook page, and that'll take you into the Ad Center as well. All right, so once we're in there, and we're going to get in there and create this ad, the first thing that we have to do is we have to make sure that we're selecting the special ad category. So Facebook went through this process with the ACLU. They got lawsuits slapped on them, and so they had to come up with different targeting metrics. And so when you're doing anything that's an advertisement on housing or mortgage or financial offerings, anything like that, or political ads or anything like that, you have to select a special ad category. And so you want to click this button. It says I'm creating a campaign for ads for a special ad category, and you're going to select housing. Okay. And what that does for you is that kind of sets your campaign targeting, because you can no longer really target as fine as Facebook used to let you do. I mean, we used to be able to select approximate household income, whether you're newlyweds, whether they just had a baby, whether they were just thinking about moving, that kind of thing. all these little metrics that we could really target to, but now it's more broad and just talks about their interests on that. So after we go through that process, we're going to have our objective campaign here, right? So which objective do we want to go for? Which one are we building an ad for? So that's what you want to look at, right? And so under these objectives are different intentions. So the first one we're going to go to is the awareness, and then go to brand awareness. Okay. Click on that. The goal of brand awareness here is to help people find out all about your brand, right? Your business, your service, find out who you are. And so this campaign shows your ad to audiences repeatedly to achieve recognition or brand recall. The only goal for this type of agent Facebook ad is to get a message out to a targeted audience over and over again until the viewer kind of associates you with real estate, recognizes your brand. The more your target market knows about you and remembers you, the more brand awareness you have. And then the reach category under awareness, this ad campaign objective targets everybody within your selected audience, whether they have a history of engaging with content on Facebook or not. So the reach objective is intended to get the maximum amount of impressions for the lowest price. And the goal here is to just show your ad to as many people as possible. Okay. Now under the consideration tab, we're going to have different categories. The traffic objective is basically traffic to your website, right? Or to whatever place you want to direct traffic to. Could be a landing page, could be your website, whatever it might be. So think about that. They want to generate traffic. So this is going to target people that are in the habit of clicking on or have history of engaging and clicking on links that will take them offsite to different websites. And so it's going to target people in your target audience towards that objective. The engagement objective here is just basically getting people to engage with your ads, whether it's, responding on, a direct message through Messenger, clicking on your picture, watching a video, all those different types of things. So by selecting engagement, Facebook will show your ads to the most likely people that are going to share, comment, like, or interact with that ad and give it at the lowest possible cost. Okay. Now, if you've ever done anything like boosting from your Facebook page before, this is the profile that or the objective that Facebook automatically uses when you boost a post. All right, and then we have video views. This is self-explanatory. So this is great for targeting colder audiences that you want to re-engage with by putting up a video and all that. It's going to be generating basically people that are used to watching videos or have a history of engaging with video ads. And so you want to use the power of video in this advertising campaign, right? So you can show off properties, you can show off your community, you can introduce yourself to potential buyers or sellers. And then Facebook targets people who watch a lot of videos and who have a history of that. Another great tool with this is that video views is another power effect when you're doing retargeting. Okay. And retargeting is basically where anybody that's engaged with you, you're retargeting those specific people. So you can build a custom audience from people that have engaged with your videos. And you can set it up where if anybody's watched 3 seconds of your video or 5 seconds or 20 seconds or 30 seconds, however much engagement they've had, then you can run ads retargeting those specific people. So we'll get into that in a little bit later when we talk about custom audiences. We have our lead generation tab, right? So this is just an objective to basically get people to fill out a form, provide information like their name and email address or name and phone number. And that's a great way for you to build your database. So you're going to be running ads and have a lead form that they can click on. And Facebook does a great job of at least capturing their information and make it seamless as possible so that it'll auto-populate their name and their email address that they have associated with their Facebook account. This is an example of what those might look like. So you have the ad here on the left-hand side in the center. You're going to have the form that they're going to complete. And then at the end, it's going to have a little thank you message. And then it'll take them to the next page where they can actually access the content. If I'm going too fast, let me know. And if you have any questions, definitely feel something out in the chat window or the Q&A tab. but we want to make sure that we got a lot of content to go through here today. Now, messages is a campaign that you can have that basically opens up Messenger and allows people to communicate with you via Facebook Messenger. This is incredibly useful because it's increasingly effective way to engage prospects. So early on in the process, when people are thinking about it, it's very, very safe for prospects to communicate with somebody through Messenger. It almost feels anonymous at that time, but at least that, it's a seamless way for people to go directly from your ad and then start communicating with you via Messenger. And so you want to have something there. You're going to get notifications if people send you messages through Facebook Messenger, so that way you can respond on those. And then on our call to action or conversion objective, this is the category where we're going to have people take a call, respond to a call to action, right? And so we want to be building up, kind of think of this as a process where we build awareness. Then we have our consideration where people are kind of thinking about things a little bit more seriously. And then this last stage is then our conversion tab where people are going to respond to us, whether they respond, set an appointment, make a phone call, those types of things. And you can think of this as 3 sections of one big funnel where we're getting everybody down to the bottom. All right, so targeting, we talked about that a little bit before, but Facebook has implemented some new rules for Facebook targeting. So, and all targeting is the metrics that you're trying to use to identify your target audience on this. And so in 2018, Facebook got slapped with a lawsuit from American Civil Liberties Union, the National Fair Housing Alliance. And so they had to come to a settlement and come up with a way to safely target people for these specific ads. And then Facebook has since announced that they have a housing or special ad category, and they have policies that are specifically geared towards advertisers that are talking about housing or any type of financing, mortgage, auto loans, anything like that. Now, in the past, these are some of the categories that we could use to target, like we talked about. We could define the age, we could define the area, gender, their estimated income, their estimated net worth, whether they were newlyweds, empty nesters, just got engaged, just got divorced, all these factors that went into that. And so with these new changes that took away all those targeting metrics, and so now all we can use is basically interests, right? So every single ad gets sent out to people that are 18 to 65 plus, so you can't set the age parameters at all. You can't set if they're newlyweds or newly divorced or anything like that. All you can do is use these interests. So people that have expressed interest on Facebook through, taking a look at Redfin or Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com, using web pages that they might be interested in or shown engagement with. If they've shown any interest or done any searches for mortgage loans or mortgage calculator, first-time home buyer, house hunting, starter home, luxury homes, anything like that. So these are just partial examples of what the interest list is. All right, so when you create an ad, you can also choose your audience with this. Okay, so we're going to get into the creation part where we actually define our target audience. All right, so we're going to go back to our Facebook page. We're going to go back to the create, click on the ad tab, and that'll take us into this page where we have our objective that we're going to go for. Okay, and so we're going to choose our objective, right? So this one, we're going to choose brand awareness again. So we're going to click on that. And then basically, we're going to give our campaign a name so we can keep track of it. We want to ignore the split test. This is basically if you're running ads side by side and seeing which one's getting more engagement. So here we would just want to run one ad, and we're kind of starting out, so we're just going to keep that as basic as possible. And then 3, we can set our budget, the type of budget that we want to have. So we can either have a lifetime budget or a daily budget. If you have a daily budget, then it's not going to spend any more for that specific day. Or if you have a lifetime budget, it's going to say the entire campaign, we're not going to spend more than $100 or more than whatever that number is. Okay. And the next step is we're going to create new audience. Okay. Now we're going to touch on custom audiences here in a bit, but Facebook does give you the option to have custom audiences, and it's a very powerful tool that you can have. So we'll get into that in a second here. But for this one, we're just going to go through the steps that Facebook gives us. So we want to select people that are living in this location. So we want to pick an area that we want to target, so geographically. Now, Facebook won't allow us to go any smaller than a 15-mile radius around that area. So before you could target specific neighborhoods, now you have to, anything that you select, whether it's Mission Viejo or LA or, Simi Valley or whatever that area is, it's going to do it for a 15-mile radius around that area. Okay. And here the age range is going to be 18 to 65 plus. And here the gender is going to be all, because it defaults to those when you click on the special category. So we're going to use, in this example, Irvine, right? So it's going to have a 15-mile radius around anybody that's living in that geographic region within 15 miles of Irvine. You can go wider if you want to, but that's the minimum that they allow for. Now, something that's interesting from NAR is that home buyers and sellers report that out of the one surveyed, the average distance that they moved was 15 miles away from their last place. Older homes or older buyers tend to move farther away. Makes sense, but those in those age ranges, that's kind of the average area from their last place where they've moved. So if you look at the millennial range, from basically that 28 up to 35, within that 10-mile radius. And then as people get older, they end up moving a little bit farther away. All right, next up is our detailed targeting options, right? This is where we're going to select those interests categories. Some of these, are specified here. You can type in something and Facebook will give you a suggestion for that of what's allowed. And so you can use that to go in and make those selections here when you're building your audience. The more specific that you get, the narrower your audience becomes. And so you don't want to go too crazy on selecting a bunch of interests, because it might narrow down the number of people that are going to see your ad here. So you want to keep it a little broad so that way you're getting it out to as many people as possible. You can also leverage interest to target people that are browsing different websites. So this is what that shows you here, right? People that take a look at Redfin or Trulia or Zillow or whatever it might be. Now, one of the cool things about these ads is that you can exclude people, right? So you can exclude people from your target audience. And so one of the things that I do when I run ads is I exclude other loan officers from seeing my ads, right? So you can exclude other real estate brokers or other real estate associates. You can use all these terms, and it'll block that from your ad showing up on their timelines. So it may be something that you want to consider. And then Facebook gives you the option of where to place your ads. I always select the automatic placements. I'm going to let Facebook handle that. I don't want to get into trying to define where my ads go, right? Which platforms they go. And then you can create a budget here. So like we talked about, I think the lifetime budget is something that you definitely want to stick with, because then you have more control over, the total amount of money that you spend. Okay. And then you can schedule your ad, right? So you can run your ad set continuously starting today, and you just leave it running. And it's just going to run until that money runs out for your lifetime budget, or you can set a start date and an end date. And then once you get into this, you can pick your ad format. So with the carousel ads, you can upload multiple videos or multiple pictures. And if you've ever seen that before, like confession, I'm a Tommy Bahama lover. I love Tommy Bahama. So I get ads on my Facebook timeline all the time from them. And they'll put in multiple different types of pictures on their ad, and you can scroll through right there on your timeline as you're going through it to see which picture you like. So that's what that's for. That's a carousel ad, so you can upload multiple pictures for that. So if you have a new listing and you're putting that out as an ad, you can put in multiple pictures of your listing and have people be able to scroll through it. You can use a single image, you can use a single video, do a slideshow, or a canvas, okay? Next, we're going to want to write our ad copy. So this is the hook that we're going to present to get people to take a look at our ad, to catch their eye, right? So you want to have an attractive call to action Facebook gives you the learn more tab or send message tab or whatever you want to do. So you want to remember, how do I want people to respond to this? And what type of objective that I have? And then you want to have your title and then a little bit of verbiage there on setting that hook for people. So different ways that you can fill in that text. Then after our ad format's chosen, we can also select add an instant experience. And since most people are on their mobile device when they're viewing Facebook, this basically allows them to kind of have that ad will pop up and they can have more of a full page presentation for that ad and kind of get rid of the rest of the stuff on their timeline if they click on it. And so I think we have an example here. I can show that to you guys. So hold on one second. There it is. All right, so this is more of the immersive experience that they have, right? So it'll have the description and then it'll have the pictures and it'll take up their entire phone window on that versus, seeing some of the other things on their timeline. So this is what that immersive experience would be. All right, so Christina has a great question here. It says, do you recommend a budget to start with that people have been successful with? I think if you have a budget that's going to be probably in the neighborhood of $5 to $10 a day, or set a lifetime budget on the ad of maybe like $50 to $60 in that time frame, that's going to be something that most people feel comfortable with, that they're going to start off with, and have that ad presented to enough people where they can get a response. If you set it $5 a day and you run it for one day, that's not going to, you only spend $5, but your ad's not going to get presented to many people. So just kind of think about, what are you spending money on? What's going to give you the most bang for your buck? And if you've ever done direct mail, or if you've ever done, printed a bunch of flyers and walked the neighborhood or that type of thing, your ROI is going to be a lot higher using Facebook because of the fact that you can reach so many more people. Hope that answers your question. All right, so we talked about custom audiences and retargeting, so I want to get into that a little bit more for you. So when we're doing Facebook ads and we have a consistent strategy, eventually you're going to build up, and Facebook is going to recognize a database of people responding or engaging with your ads. Whether you know it or not, people are going to be engaging with your ads. They can click on it, or they can hold down for a second, or they can pause on the ad, all those things. And so Facebook's algorithm picks that up very easily. And so they're going to remember those people that are actually spending time looking at your content. And then over time, you want to be able to retarget those people because they've actually expressed interest at some point. So in a consistent campaign where you're in it for the long haul and you're building out a campaign, eventually you're going to build up that database of people that have engaged. And so then you want to retarget those people. And Facebook has some great tools to do that. All right, so Facebook gives you two options on how you can retarget. So they'll either let you provide the source through people that have visited your website, your customer list, offline activity, or people that have responded to your app. I don't know if many of us have our own individual apps, but the main thing out of your own sources are people that are going to go to your website. And so that's where you want to make sure that you put your Facebook pixel in on your website so that Facebook can keep track of people that have visited your website, and then you can go back and retarget those people. Or people that, if you have your own customer list, right? So if you have a list of, spreadsheet of your past clients, or people that, have responded to come to your open houses, or people that have responded to anything that you've done in the past that have engaged with that, and it's basically offline, it's a customer list, then you can use that, upload that, and create an audience for that. Or go to your title rep and get the information from your farm. So people that are in your farm, and use that as a client list as well. And then once you upload that, then Facebook's you can create an audience for that. And we're going to show you how that looks like in a second. And then you can run ads targeting that specific audience. Or Facebook also allows you to use their sources for creating a custom audience. So if anybody's watched or even watched a portion of your video, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it might be. Anybody that's responded to a lead form in the past, if you run ads that had a lead form. Anybody that's looked at and engaged with the instant experience that we just talked about. Anybody that's visited your Instagram business profile, which if you have on Instagram, you should definitely have a business page, business profile on Instagram. If you've ever run an event and people have RSVP'd to your event, you know, if you've run an event advertising an open house or a seminar that you're doing or whatever it might be, or anybody that's liked, commented, shared information on your Facebook page. So these are all sources that Facebook will use to create custom audiences for you as well. All right, so first off, if we have our own information, we're going to use a customer file. We're going to add customers from our own information here, right? So you can either one, import it from MailChimp if you use MailChimp, or two, have it on a spreadsheet in the CSV format, and you can upload it directly into Facebook. All right, so to use your own customer list, you upload the CSV or your text file, and then Facebook is looking for what they call identifiers. So the main identifiers that they're going to look for is the email address, phone number, home address, property address, those types of things. The more identifiers that you can supply on your list, the more information Facebook has to go out and find those people to target. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, we mentioned the word pixel, and if you don't know what the Facebook pixel is, all it is it's just a section of code that Facebook basically develops that ties it directly to your Facebook page, your business page account. And then you can use that code and put it on your landing page, or use that code and put it on your website, or whatever you might want to do with it. So, all right, so Facebook pixel is just a snippet of that code. All right, and then when you're running ads that drive people to your website or your landing page, then the Facebook pixel will track how many of those people come and who those people are, right? Through information that's from their Facebook account and from their IP address. And so then you can go out and retarget those people. And so when we're doing special ads on that, we talked about that, right? So we have a special ad category for housing and all that. So Facebook says they will show ads to people who have similar online behavior as your most valued customers. So you would use special ad audience to create a lookalike audience from your customer list. Okay, so you're going to upload your customer list, and then when you want to run an ad, you create a special ad audience, and then you can select your customer list that you have, and Facebook's going to create a lookalike audience that's going to mirror the traits and identifiers that are on that customer list. So sometimes some of it gets beyond me a little bit on how they do all these things, but that's what it does. And then once we get into running our ads and everything, Facebook gives us the opportunity through the ads manager to see how those ads are performing. And so you want to take a look at this because it gives you some information on the demographics of people that are responding to your ads, the time of day that they're responding, those types of things. And so it's just good to have that information. So if it's not performing, or if it's not reaching the segment of population that you want, then maybe there's something in the ad that you want to tweak. Maybe the verbiage you want to tweak, maybe the picture that you use. So those are all types of things that your ads manager will let you look at, so that way you can go in and kind of see how everything's performing. All right, I'm going to stop real quick here, and then we're going to jump into some questions. So if you have any questions about any of this real quick, before we get into the next section, let me know. We'll take a brief pause to answer those questions. All right, so we've got our ads created. And what do we want to have done next? We want to have something that's going to respond to those, right? So we're going to talk about lead response and conversion here. So if you think about it, the faster that you're going to respond to somebody that reaches out or engages with your content, the better, right? The more success you're going to have in converting those people, whether they're at the time of making the decision or whether they're just answering their questions. So speed to lead is definitely a phrase that you want to keep in mind, okay? And this is just an interesting graph that kind of shows you that the longer time goes, the less responsive those people that requested information, the less responsive they're going to be. And think about it in your own behavior. You respond to something, and then it takes a while for that person to get back to you. You're on to something else. You might not even remember that you responded to that or engaged with that. So you want to be able to have something that responds quickly so that engages that prospect. So how do you do that? Because not all of us have, big teams that we can have, that we have dedicated people that are doing nothing but responding to our contacts or our leads or anything like that. So you want to have something that's automated. Okay. And if you want to take a look at this, there's automated systems, and we'll give you some of the names here in a minute, but you can develop a response campaign that's already mapped out for you that you can use to respond to any leads that you have coming in. And whether that's leads from realtor.com, whether that's leads from your Facebook ads or Instagram ads or anything that you're running. And what this graph shows you is that it has a campaign here for 20 days. And so the expression, right? We've all heard this before, that it takes probably 7 to 10 different contacts to actually engage with somebody that's actually looking to respond, or a lead that you've received, right? You can't just make 2 follow-up calls or 2 follow-up emails and not do anything after that. You need to consistently try to reach out to them. And it takes probably 7 to 10 attempts to actually get any type of engagement. And so what this graph shows you here is that it's just a campaign where we have a text message that'll go out, a ringless voicemail, an email, and then another ringless voicemail. And you can pre-record the messages on the ringless voicemail so that when this campaign set up, it's all right there ready to go. So day 1, you're going to have 4 attempts to reach out to those people. Day 3, 2 attempts. Day 4, just an email. Day 8, we're going to have 3 more attempts. Day 14, we're going to have a text and a phone call. So this is just an example, but this is an automated campaign that these leads come in, they automatically get input to the system, and then the system does this for you. Right? So there's companies like Agent Legend that will do this for you. There's companies like LionDesk that will do this for you. So there's definitely some automated systems already in place that you can get help with that will set this up. Total Expert is another system. This is a CRM platform that's based out of Minneapolis. They're created by real estate agents. It was the #1 Remax team in Minnesota that created this platform, and they've just grown substantially over the last 5 to 7 years as a system that you might want to check out. So the Total Expert is another system. And then here are some of the automated tools that we talked about. LionDesk, Agent Legend, Real Geeks, Wise Agent. So you can see all of these. All right, so what are some of the ads that you want to take a look at that have been successful, that agents that we know about have used these to create a lot of engagement? These are some of the ads that you want to take a look at. So offering something of value to people can respond to, like a free list of homes ad, right? So you have a Facebook lead ad. That's the type of ad campaign that you're going to run, right? Have that hooked up to a landing page, right? With your Facebook pixel installed on that landing page. And then you're going to retarget those individuals on Facebook, and then you have an automated follow-up campaign. And so Travis Tom here has an ad where they talk about putting together a free list of homes for homes priced under whatever the dollar amount is for that specific area. Click here to view homes under, and then they'll click on the Learn More button. It'll ask them some questions. They can respond to that and then go from there. Another ad that Travis has run is that it just kind of tells a story, right? Pulls on some of those emotional heartstrings. So but it talks about a first-time home buyer where they were in an apartment and they were looking to buy a home and needed as much help as they can. And just basically tells their story of a specific customer, right? And so you get people that respond to that and say, hey, sounds like me, I want to get that kind of help. And then they'll click on that button and respond to that. This is an ad talking about, down payment assistance programs that are out there. So you have a first-time home buyer, don't know where to start. Very little money can help you get into a home. And those programs still exist today. We have the Open Doors program through the Golden State Finance Authority. There's CalHFA, California Housing Finance Authority. And so we help out individuals that can get into a house with very, very, very little money out of pocket on that. And so there's great programs that exist for some of those first-time home buyers. All right, this is coming soon ad that's run out there. It's a great way to kind of do those advertisements about it, specifically if you're going to, you know, have a new listing. You want to set up this coming soon ad. You see those all the time as well. Then here's an example of an ad directing viewers to a landing page that's off Facebook. So it's a traffic ad, right? But they use the same imagery throughout all the different things, right? So they have the ad that has the picture, and then they have the landing page that has the same picture. All that, so it just ties that all together, okay? And then the headline, the subhead, and the image should all match that ad identity. And then open houses, now that we can have those, some of the most effective lead generation ads that I've run has been ones that we've teamed up with our partners advertising for open houses. So if people have an open house coming up, we can run an ad for that specific open house, and then talking about, hey, click here if you want to see a list of homes or, you know, available homes that are similar to this one. And then you can generate leads where you can follow up on that. And so those are people that are in that bottom part of the lead funnel. They're in that conversion area because they've been thinking about buying a house. They've been looking, and they're at that point where they're ready to take a call to action. So open house ads definitely generate a lot of traffic. One of the ways to build awareness is through just sold advertisements. Just kind of like doing a just sold flyer, but you can reach a far more number of people and kind of just for less money too. So just sold ads are a great way to do it. So this is an ad that has a carousel ad, multiple images, and has different marketing messages, right? And this Facebook ad carousel is a winner because you can present several different images and options for that consumer to take a look at that home and see that home all in one ad. And then here's a listing ad that you can see. One of the critical things that you want to do is make sure that if you're using any links in your ad copy, is that you put that towards the top of your copy, right? Usually within the first 3 lines. Because when Facebook runs the ad, they're going to cut off that copy. And then if people want to view all of it, they have to click on that see more button or see more wording on the ad to see the whole list of copy. So if you don't want that link to be cut off, you want to have that appear in the ad at the very top so that people can click directly on that link. So hopefully that makes sense for you as well. All right, so let's summarize what we talked about here today, right? We talked about why we want to advertise on Facebook because of the large platform and the ROI that you can get from it. We want to make sure that we're clear on our ad objective. We want to leverage the interest that Facebook allows us to target for. We want to make sure that we're creating custom audiences through our past client database or our farms or any of those types of lists that you have so that you can retarget and create audiences, lookalike audiences. And then we have to make sure that we have a follow-up process in place and that we're going to leverage technology to help us out. So if you want to sit down one-on-one with any of this information, I'd be happy to do that. Email me, respond, shoot me a message here in the chat window if you want to have me reach out. I'd be happy to set up an appointment one-on-one so we can go through some of this stuff because leveraging Facebook and Instagram is definitely something that you want to implement in your business. So hopefully you guys had a good session here. Love to hear some feedback from you. So as far as attending today as well, you're going to get an email from the board here. Elsie's going to send this out, and it's going to provide our ultimate guide for building custom audiences. So that's our gift to you for coming to class today. So Elsie's going to send that out here after class. So thanks, guys. Hope you had a great day, or have a great day, and appreciate you taking the time to spend some time with us today.